Hi, Lisa Schermerhorn here, and I am so excited to introduce my dear friend Kelley Hunter. She's a contributor in my book, We Are Quantum, and she is an amazing astrologer. I love talking to her because it's a whole nother language, and I learn so much every time I talk to her. And we wanted to talk about the quantum aspect of astrology and what that means to Kelley and how it relates to her and her life. So, Kelley, welcome. So thrilled to have you here.
Yes, and likewise, Lisa, it was a great invitation to be part of this book, uh, uh, especially based on some recent astronomical discoveries and kind of how I am kind of interpreting those as an invitation to quantum consciousness, which is one of the big au courant things right now. So
Exactly.
there's quantum everything out there. So it's very exciting because we are at such an amazing time in our human experience.
It is because I experience the veil lifting and people are connecting at a deeper level. I was just talking to a friend of mine that, 25 years ago, I couldn't even say the word Reiki without being called a witch. Which I
Yeah.
was. And then, now we can have these much deeper, more elaborate conversations and talking about telepathy and talking about
Mhm.
past lives and ancestral healing. So we've really evolved quite a bit.
Yes. Yes. And so have the sciences, and so has astrology. It is a language. It is a cosmic language, the language of the stars, monitoring the cycles of the planets and larger cycles and smaller cycles. And then we find our own birth chart, which is our cosmic blueprint that kind of maps out how we're connected to something greater than ourselves. And that's my first real excitement about when I started learning astrology. And it's a big field because it's based on astronomical data. So it has, a scientific basis, but it's a language, an intuitive language of symbols and mythology and archetypes. So it gets into a kind of psycho-spiritual realm that takes us right toward the quantum.
Yeah, because when I think about how precise it can be, related to like I'm born on November at this time and this date and this location. And it's almost like I'm curious because when I think about how specific it can be, like my
Mm.
granddaughter was born on a 110 and then the year adds up to 10, like all the numbers and how they relate to your life.
Yes, well, astrology and numerology are certainly related,
Yeah.
but one doesn't require the other. Astrology is a really old science, and it's evolved in so many ways. And now we have computers that can map more precisely the movement of the planets and such. So, and there are different types of astrology in different countries and over history, and so it's a very interesting field. And my favorite part of it is the one-on-one field that it opens up in terms of looking at someone's chart and seeing what their connections are and how they're experiencing it in their own lives, because there are these energies and we have our own relationship to them in that psycho-spiritual way. And so I just find it endlessly fascinating, especially in these changing times.
No,
So,
it's true because I think about, when we'll talk about, we'll talk about my chart and you're like, well, that's exactly why this happened. Like this is, or this is a good time to release a book, or this is not a good time to do this. Like tapping into the energies of what is going to help propel you, or almost like swimming against the current, correct?
a little bit like that, yes, because we can be pretty resistant and then sometimes. But it's also we can't blame something on the stars. We can't blame the planets for our lives going awry. You
Except
know,
Mercury in retrograde.
you can use that. We need Mercury retrograde now and again just to kind of step back and rethink things. And that's
Yeah.
what it's about, picking up, drop stitches in your knitting of your life kind of thing. So sometimes we need those kind of pause moments. And retrograde is an internalizing. Retrograde is sort of misunderstood because it looks like the planets are going backwards in the sky, like where they've been like before. But no, it's just that the Earth and other planets are going around, in different speeds, and it's like we're passing a train, kind of like. So it's not it's just meaningful though, because that's what we're observing from our, Earth standpoint. And so it has meaning. All of these movements have meanings, and this gets into it's like subatomic physics. There are electrons and neutrons and protons, and they go around the center point, and it's like the planets are kind of like that too, the way they go around the sun. So there's a center point, and that is basically representing our life force, and then the planets help us bring that more down to not only a personal level in the way
Yeah.
we live our lives, but also to like a social level. The planets that take slower, some more time to go around the sun, have to do with the larger cycles that we're all part of. So some of those are social planets representing things like our culture and how that influences us and our belief systems. And then we get out to some farther planets that have longer cycles, like Pluto, 248 years to go around the sun. And those are big cycles that represent some of the signs of the times, like the themes we're going
Right.
through in collective consciousness. And now there's this new realm that Pluto is actually part of, because it's this small, tiny little thing after these big planets. And it's like the first one that was discovered, and what they are now seeing is a big swath of the sky that has a lot of small little icy things.
So
Some of them have
is it
moons.
possible that Pluto is one of many other planets that could be in that Kuiper belt? Is that where
Yeah.
you're getting to? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Pluto's now considered the the threshold planet of the Kuiper Belt, because it's like the other ones that are being discovered only since this third millennium, only since the
Wow.
2000s. And so this is a whole new realm, which in intuitive astrology represents a new level of consciousness. Any new discovery represents something that's arising in our consciousness. And some people pick up on this before it's actually discovered. But it also this is the Kuiper Belt. And because there are so many of them, they had to, here's what astronomers do. Whoever discovers it gets to name it, but it has to be in the category that this whole section of the sky is in, like a mythic category. So they're using myth, and science is a form of mythology if we look at it that way. It's like the story science is telling us, which is why quantum is so fascinating, because it's the new story. And the
Right.
planets are coming up saying, we're part of the new story too. So I think they're inviting us because this new category they made for this Kuiper Belt, and this is big. This is a big section of the sky. These are planets that take 500 years to go
Wow.
around the
Wow.
sun. So they're larger cycles. And
Wow.
they are being named for indigenous creator gods from around the world, which I find so thrilling because, for one thing, it's taking us beyond the mythic paradigm which we have been living under for a while, like the Greco-Roman mythologies.
Right.
And, some of those gods and goddesses are like soap opera stories.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about that because you study a lot of that mythology.
Yeah.
And when you name something, you're giving it an energy, right? And then when you talk about the Greek and Roman gods, people are praying to them, which feeds them even more energy. So you have
Mm.
these constellations that we are creating, giving a certain type of energy that comes from us.
Yes, yes. It's like, different cultures. It's like dot to dot coloring book. They connect
Yeah.
the dots of the stars in different patterns, but they affect our consciousness because that's what we're seeing or perceiving and working with. So these new discoveries in this whole new category
Right.
are beyond what we've been using as names, and it's the astronomers that name them.
That's
I think
so
they're getting some
interesting.
kind of download, but they have to fit
Absolutely.
into this creator God category now.
So, as an intuitive, how do you see those names and those new energies that are coming in impacting us as we move forward?
Well, also watching how they're moving through the sky,
Yeah,
is one way that astrologers do their research. Like, okay, so one of them is called Haumea, who is the goddess of childbirth in Hawaiian culture. And that, uh, what do we call them? Planetoids, Kuiper Belt objects doesn't fit it for me. It
right,
is, as you said, an energy. I'm
right.
not sure how astronomers look at that, but they're giving names so they can identify what they're talking about.
So this
So,
is more of an object, not a whole like when you see the like Orion, like the different patterns in the sky. Is it a pattern that they're putting a name to? Like,
no, no,
okay, it's
it is
objects.
supposedly
Okay, no, I
whatever.
just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify because we
yeah,
have names for the constellations,
yeah,
the different constellations. So I didn't
yeah.
know if they were naming constellations or objects.
Objects. And
Okay,
and some of them have moons or companion objects, like it's a
okay.
double system. So it's all very fascinating. And I think that evoking, more global mythologies and creator gods, these are creator stories. And so, for instance, how Maya gave birth to everything on
Mm,
Earth. The flora, the fauna, people, and she can give birth through different parts of her body.
mm,
And she's basically the earth, the land, the energy of giving birth. So that is a mother goddess kind of archetype if we want to look at it in a larger category. But it's also connected to this culture. And to me, the cultures out of which these creator gods come is very important in terms of their context. And Hawaii is, the Hawaiian culture has ancient roots,
mm.
Lemuria, and the lands before, like so. They have a long lineage that remembers that, and their language is very complex, has a lot of nuances. So learning about the culture gives us more meaning in terms of how Maya might mean to us.
Wow.
And it just went into the sign. It changed signs, which they don't do very often because they are slow movers. It just changed sign a couple of years ago and went into Scorpio.
Oh,
So, what is the impulse out of which she is birthing? And when she was in Libra, there were choices to be made. There were relational contexts there. But in Scorpio, Scorpio is all about passion and intensity and all or nothing. So
yeah,
it's this real deep, passionate energy about creating something brand new, that is part of what we're experiencing
exactly.
in our arising of consciousness when we're talking about new earth or, the new consciousness coming in a way that has no precedent from before, but that's hard for us to manage.
Right. So it's interesting because you think about and this is quantum to me, is that once you name something, you're giving it a new energy. So these have been impacting us, and there's a lot more that's out there that has not been discovered. They're still moving in and out of all of these different
Mm.
houses and different uh,
Constellation.
constellations, but we don't know how they're impacting us and then how it might change once it's named. It's that
Yes,
whole
and that's
quantum thing.
absolutely part of quantum because
Yeah.
if we're looking at something in the quantum field, just our fact of looking at it
Yeah.
changes it or identifies it. And that's exactly what you're saying in relation to this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it gives us some meaning that we can, um, let's see, intuitively engage with. And it's a two-way street. It's a relationship with the cosmic energies, and it's a new realm of the cosmic energies.
Wow. This is
So,
so fascinating to me. I never really thought about astrology this way.
yeah. So, we have the four elements that Earth is made of: earth, air, fire, water, and ether, which was like scientifically dismissed for a while.
Yes.
And I got really interested in ether because I was thinking about the discovery or the intimation that there was like a lot of dark matter out there that wasn't physical, that we could not see. And I actually studied that and did research on the search for dark matter.
Hmm.
And I took one T out of matter and said it's a search for dark mater, which means mother. And I was associating the search for dark matter with the arising of the cosmic feminine and the feminine energy that we are feeling so much more
Wow.
arising in our consciousness. So yeah, I did a whole dissertation on that.
So it's so interesting because I just saw something recently where they were talking about the periodic table, and the first element used to be ether, Aether, and they took it out.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they
just
did
because they took it
because
out, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
right, right, and a lot of old, philosophical or religious traditions talk about ether. The Greeks talk about it as the star body.
Mm,
And in various healing modalities, we have the etheric body, which is our star body. And we have in Buddhist and Hindu philosophy, we have ether as the fifth element out of which all of the others arise. And it has a nuances. There's physical ether and non-physical ether, material ether or non-material ether. So it's the realm out of which we pull, and this is what I think the creator gods are about, is they see something in that non-material ether and pull it into materiality.
mm,
So this goes into the whole quantum consciousness of intention and attention and how that we create out of that and we can use that level of consciousness to create our experience. And this is coming up a lot in consciousness discussions and spiritual discussions and brain science and all of that, that there's something more going on. And what did they even mean by junk DNA? I mean,
right,
really,
right,
and this is where we have to go to. It's an intentional conscious universe. And
exactly.
that whole field of energy, that whole quantum field has become more and more part of physics and science. Part of what I did was I did a program with the Resonance institute, I guess, resonance. Anyway, it's called Resonance, and it was founded by Nassim Haramein, who is a physicist who developed a mathematical formula that proved that the universe, the sort of field, is like geometrically designed like the flower of life
Oh,
image.
wow.
That it's constantly it's made of all of these energies that interrelate in a beautiful harmony, and that also there is the say the the galactic center that is said to be a dark hole and that pulls light in.
Right. So is that related to, I've heard them refer to the universe as a dodecahedron? Is that the shape that you were talking about, or is this is something different?
Well, he drew on the star tetrahedron
Okay.
in his research. And I don't know all about those, those sacred geometries and those platonic solids,
Right.
that are discussed. So Plato knew about that, and that they do shape the field of our living. And so when we go to that etheric level and we're in this layer or liminal space between the seeing or imagining. Imagination is powerful. If we can imagine it, we can experience it. So
Absolutely.
imagination can bring that image or that energy into being, so we're experiencing it.
You are so right, because in the work that I do with hypnosis, we do something called future seeing, where we will take people into the future. You create a timeline. And then once you imagine it, it exists.
Yes.
Now you have to take the steps to get there, but
Yes.
it's there. You've now created it. And people don't realize how powerful they are by
Hmm.
tapping into the ether and having that creative mind and creating things. And once you do, you start manifesting like crazy. You
Yes.
start to really create your world once you accept how powerful you are.
Yeah, Harmin said that, well, he was talking about a black hole and how everything is like a black hole. There's a membrane, and then the it pulls in the light, but it also emits light. There's the event horizon they talk about now. It's like all membranes, it's like all your cells have
Right.
membranes and things go in and out. So when light comes in, there's going to be more light than is emitted. And so it's like the bathtub where the water's going down the drain and it starts circling and it gets right down into the center. And then you can tap into a wormhole in time space that goes to what it is that you want, what you are in your center intending and focusing on. You can tap into that potential in any place in the universe because it's all interrelated and every center can tap into any other center.
This is why it's so important to be aware of what your thoughts are, what
Yeah.
your conscious and unconscious beliefs are.
Yes.
Like, pay
And
attention to what you keep sabotaging. That's how you know what your unconscious beliefs are.
yes, yes.
Because this is where you are creating your own reality comes from. I love this conversation.
This is where Mercury retrograde comes in handy because you can edit your thinking.
That's
You can like,
great.
okay, I don't want to be thinking that. Plus, we want our hearts to lead. The
Yes.
most electromagnetic energy and intelligence is heart intelligence. And
Yes.
so we want the more of the awareness of the heart informing the brain rather than the brain informing the heart. They have to work in
Exactly.
tandem. Yeah.
Exactly. Because the feeling of it, like when you want to manifest something, the feeling, the emotion is far more powerful than the thought. So you're right. It's go into your heart, create from that feeling, and then you inform the brain and create. But and then there's a surrender that happens
Mm.
because what you may be manifesting, God may have other ideas.
Well,
Something
that's the
better.
willingness, may thy will be done. And may
Exactly.
our will, align with the divine will. So that is
Exactly.
a surrender, a kind of willingness, not a willfulness.
Yes.
Yeah, so that has to do with the whole ego thing.
Exactly, exactly. It was interesting. Are you familiar with the there was a trilogy, Golden Compass books, talks about the dark materials.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Philip Pullman. Yeah,
Yes.
somebody told me about those from England, and it was like, yeah, I gobbled those up.
I read those years ago, and I need to reread them because it was before I had gotten into shamanism and all of that. And he plainly talks about shamanism, ether, creating dark materials. It's really fascinating, and I remember reading. I couldn't stop consuming them. Like I couldn't put them down.
Yeah, me too.
They were amazing. I
Yeah.
can't remember the all three of them, but it gets into the different dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to. I read, and I think they did a series about it. They made a movie. Kidman was in the first one, but I need to go
Oh,
back. But the
yeah.
books are so amazing because it really gets into your power animals, and they talk about the ether, and yeah, they're amazing stories.
Yes. Yeah, great series. Yeah, there are a lot of books. I can't think of others right now, but that evoke that kind of intelligence, knowledge, wisdom. Wisdom is better.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. When you were talking about all the different constellations and all the planets and everything, I had this image of, the complexity of it because when you think about all of the different constellations, the different, you know, like as a Scorpio, I have certain planets that are moving, impacting me, while other planets are impacting other other signs, or those planets are affecting other signs in different ways. It's not one like this is happening in the world and this is everything that's going to happen for you. Everyone is coming from a different place. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And it's like the atomic field. It's all really interactive. And so all of the planets are active. Whatever ones are going through your sign, that's something. And then say like in Vedic astrology, you would probably be a Libra instead of a Scorpio,
Oh, interesting.
because they go along with where the planets are now in relation to the backdrop of the constellations, whereas Western astrology is based on Aries starting on spring equinox, and spring equinox doesn't align with the constellation of Aries anymore. So,
Oh, interesting.
yes, so they follow that. But all of the astrology systems are valid on their own terms.
Yeah, and then there's supposed to be a 13th constellation, a 13th. And what's your thoughts on that one?
I'm an Ophiuchi.
Oh, you are one.
I am an Ophiuchi. Yes, so it's like 12 is just an easy number to deal with. It's pretty iconic, but the sun goes through more than the 12 constellations we use. And the one in between Scorpio and Sagittarius is Ophiuchus, the serpent charmer. So he's seen as a naked man with a serpent wrapped around him. So this is very shamanic, and
Yes.
would be say like
Transformation, right?
it would be so Scorpio is actually shorter, and Ophiuchus gets in there. So
So when does if you use Ophiuchus, when does that start? Is that
oh
November?
gosh, I always yeah, sometime in late November, and it goes through the
Okay.
first week in December.
Okay, so it's short. It's probably what, 2 or 3 weeks?
I would say more two,
Two
but I
weeks?
forget those facts. I'm not good
Yeah,
at keeping
yeah.
facts
No,
in
I was just
my.
curious because I'm probably on the cusp of it because November 17th and you're
No,
getting
you're
to
definitely a Scorpio.
Scorpio. I feel connected to Scorpio. Like when someone had told me about Ophiuchus, and I thought, I'm so attached to my Scorpio. It would be really like you would have been considered a Sagittarius, right?
Yeah, and I am.
Yeah,
I am, but I like that Ophiuchian subtone a lot.
yeah.
It makes sense to me. It really makes sense to me. So, yeah, I actually wrote an article about that at one point some years ago because the mythology what grabs one. And so, but we're all of the signs, and it's really important to put on a different hat now and again and activate that aspect of yourself. So if you want to try on the Ophiuchian hat, Lisa, you go ahead. You grab that serpent and you dance with it.
I think I did a bit of that in my shamanic days in my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So is Ophiuchus about transformation? When I think about the snake, it's about transmutation, transformation. I'm curious.
Think about this. So he's the serpent charmer. He's dancing with the serpent, or is he wrestling with it?
Oh,
What's your myth? And
ah,
he's got one foot on the heart of the scorpion
ah,
and one foot standing on the Milky Way. So he's riding the Milky Way, like surfing it, with
ah.
his foot on the heart of the scorpion, which is the largest star in the sky.
Oh,
It's a red supergiant star that is aligned with my Western sun sign because I would be a Scorpio in Vedic astrology.
okay.
So anyway, that's when the complexity is so
Yes.
layered and nuanced. And there are a lot of astrologers now that are using both Vedic and Western, which I don't, that's a big
I
trick.
don't know how you keep track of all of it. And I
Well,
think
it's my
about
field. I've been in it since like the late 60s. So,
And I think about how much technology has also impacted because you can just type in people's information and get a chart. How long did it used to take you to track someone's chart by hand before that?
oh, wow. Yeah, about an hour.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, because you have to have the time zone based on the latitude and longitude, and a time zone is 15 degrees.
Yeah.
But you can't use that whole time zone. You've got to calibrate it right to that point in the time zone. And then you have to use the time and figure out how far the planet moved in that amount of time during the day. And so you had to have three books. You had to have a big book about the latitude and longitudes of all the towns in the world.
Wow.
And now it's all computerized and it's just great.
I can't even, yeah, I can't even imagine like how much time and energy you had to put into just to create the chart, let alone decipher it. So
Yeah.
now you can put all your energy into deciphering it and giving people the wisdom. So how does someone knowing their chart impact their lives? Like, what's the purpose of having their chart read?
Well, for one thing, to see what archetypes are really alive in your life purpose. Say you have Haumea conjunct your sun and you don't know it. And then you do. And it's like, whoa, that birthing energy. How have you experienced that in your life? And this is a question for all of us right now. What are we gestating
Mm,
in our consciousness, in that something arising from deep
right.
within that has that passionate intention that is part of the erotic life force? Eros is the god that emerged from chaos with Gaia in the desire to be. So we don't want to trivialize Eros as a little Valentine's Day Cupid. Eros is a power, and
Mm,
it's very active right now, by the way.
Oh,
It's not
good.
in our sky, in our astrology. So this is like what is bubbling up from deep inside you. And it's a process. As a Scorpio, it's about process. It's about the Scorpio is a water sign, so it is about the strong feelings. And Scorpio is basically all or nothing. You're either for it or it's not for me kind of thing.
Yeah, and it also like I will put myself through a lot to accomplish something. Like I always have to take the hard way. Like I had to walk 40 feet of fire to finally make a decision to end a marriage. It's like I don't do things lightly. I always find that and when I could connect to that part of me and understand that that's not just me, that's the force that I'm connected to at an energetic level.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Because there's just your sun sign is your life purpose, how your life force moves through you.
Right.
But then we have, say, the moon sign, that is your basic foundation from family ancestry and from being born into this world through the mother and the family that you were, and how those influences kind of build who you think you are.
Exactly. I know, yeah, I never really think about my moon sign. There's always so much focus on the sun sign because I think my moon sign is Leo.
I think so
So,
too. Yeah, you
yeah.
you got that Leo shining. And then, based on the time and place you're born, which ends up being a real key to getting to the heart of the chart, is your rising sign. What's rising over the eastern horizon when you're born, it's like how you come out to life. So it's part of your persona, part of, how you operate, part of how people see you. And that doesn't always match your true life purpose.
Right.
But these are the three big things, the sun, moon, and the rising sign. And, that can be so, say, like you have something on your rising sign, like Venus.
Hmm.
And Venus is beauty. And so people perceive this beauty. There's a very attractive energy with having Venus on your ascendant, your rising sign, like meeting the world through Venus.
Right. Right. That's so funny. Yeah, I think about because the location I was born is probably the most made fun of place in the country. I was born in Newark, New Jersey, and anyone who's been into the New York, New Jersey area and has had to drive the turnpike and smells the refinery and all the everything and it's been a dangerous place for many years with a lot of gang violence and everything. So it's like whenever I say I'm from Newark,
I
it's
don't know
like
why they call New Jersey the Garden State. I guess parts of it are.
it used to be.
Uh-huh.
They had some of the best tomatoes, corn, and blueberries.
Oh,
But what happened was it just like New York dumped on it, and as New York City
uh-huh.
grew, it got so congested, and they put there's all the industrial parts of it. But there's beautiful parts of it. It's just gotten way too crowded for me.
Yeah, I don't like to go through the Newark airport myself, but
No.
we have a Newark in Vermont, which is a very small town. And my friend has a house there, and he calls it's New Ark, New
Yes.
Ark. So there's something, an esoteric vibe beneath the surface there that's quite potent.
Well, yeah, I'd love to change the pronunciation. That would make me feel better.
So are we still on the quantum track here?
Oh, I know. Sorry, we got off track, but
That's
I
okay.
have to say, I mean, we're just about we're
Mm.
getting to the end. Is there anything that we haven't covered when you talk about quantum as related to astrology that you wanted to talk about, or do you feel that we've covered a lot?
Well, I did want to talk about the creator gods, the
Yeah.
indigenous creator gods, who have some, really original creation stories that do have special nuances, but that to me, it's basically about taking whatever vision is arising and bringing it into experience and materiality. So this is our invitation now.
Yeah.
And I think that it goes beyond the transformation of the collective consciousness into more of, the quantum potential of anything can happen.
Right.
But you have to step into it. You have to, well, believe it for one thing, and get into the co-creator mode that is our essential, spiritual soul, energy. So that is, uh, we have to shed layers of darkness,
Yeah.
around that light, and that power, and be ready to take it on. We have to shed some of that ego identity. We have to shed some of our lower desires. For a while there, I was thinking that the spiritual path is tuning into the one true desire of the soul and letting all of the others go.
Hmm. That's an interesting concept. The thing is, I do know like that we have a shadow that needs to be dealt with. So we have those true desires, but the shadow keeps kind of coming in for the lessons and um, working through that. But
Mm.
in the idea of working with these indigenous people. Is there like how do people find out what the names are? Is it good for people to work with them and want to connect to them? I mean, what do people want to do with these new names and new
Some people are like,
discovery?
too much for me. We've already got all these planets and all these asteroids, and you can put so many things in the chart now. Sometimes I see people putting up charts, and it's like, oh my God, that's too much for me.
Yeah,
And so it's taking it easy in terms of how many factors that you feel you want to engage with, so you get to know that energy within yourself.
yeah,
And some periodically, pretty soon for you, Haumea is going to go across your sun sign and you're going to be pulled into her field of energy. And then that's when it's like quantum science emerging. It's been a slow process and now it's ramping up and it's like the new story. And so when we're in a paradigm shift or when we're in such a deep transformation, both personal and collective, then these new energies arise and they start inviting us to play with them, to dance with them, to create with them, and see how this is moving through you as a contribution to our collective consciousness, but mostly as your own journey into your center.
right.
And when you're in your center, you can tune in to any other resonance that matches that. And that's part of the challenge, is to be that still within ourselves, to center in to that place of peace and kind of harmony and resonance in order to let the field open up to us and speak to us in a way that we often resist because we're afraid.
Yeah, I love the way you just verbalize that. And you use the term dance a lot, dance with it, because there are people could use, other terms like wrestle, which has more negative, time because everything has a shadow and a light to it. Everything has things that we have to kind of pick up that rock and go, oh, there's that old thing that we need to work with. And, everything is helping us shift and change. And
Hmm.
I love the term dance because it feels lighter. It feels like it's fun and it's wisdom. I don't know, this is just like what comes up for me, but
Yeah,
I just love the
absolutely.
term of dancing with something instead of wrestling with it.
Yes, absolutely. And part of how I'm thinking about it is like Pluto is the god of the underworld,
Mm,
brings up a lot of shadows.
yeah.
And there's some other gods of the underworld at the beginning of the Kuiper Belt because that's where they started. And then they realized, oh, we need more than these. But in order to get to that creator God realm, we need to go through and confront our own shadows and fears and, subconscious stuff.
Yeah.
And then we can emerge into this field of light. And a Hindu god that resonates with Pluto is Shiva.
Yes.
And Shiva is the Lord of the dance. Dances all creation into being and all the destruction out. It's the rhythm of
Oh,
creation and
wow. Because I
destruction.
think of her as the destroyer, but when you think of her as the dance, so that's the typical Hindu dance with all the hands. Is that that Shiva
Um,
or no?
well, Shiva is the male divine,
Okay.
the core divine masculine.
Okay.
And Kali is one of or
Kali. Okay.
Shakti. Shakti means power. And Shakti dances around. It's like the core of Shiva. And they're
Okay.
never separate. They're never separate. It's the masculine and feminine. And I think they're dancing at the center of the galaxy, and we're also receiving a lot of energy from the center of the galaxy. That was part of the Mayan calendar, kind of recognition that we're ending and beginning a really large cycle right now. And there's so many cycles that have been culminating and new emerging. And here we are at this potent time. And yes, we have to confront our own shadows and realize they're masking potentials that are quite powerful because Pluto visitations can strip you down, but they can also be very empowering. It's where you confront your fears or you surrender, where
Yeah.
you claim your power or you give it to somebody else.
Amazing. I always love having these conversations with you because you are such a plethora of information. I mean, you have really studied this. It's like you're the astrologer's astrologer. And I learn so much from you every time we talk. And I really appreciate you being part of this book, connecting the astrology to the quantum field. I felt like that was really missing in the book. And it was an area that needed to be addressed. So I appreciate you so much and thank you. This was really an amazing conversation.
Well, I'm delighted to have conversations with you and also really delighted to be part of a book with so many interesting perspectives and authors. So thank you. I'm
Well,
looking forward to it.
yeah, thank you. It should be out soon. Thank you.
Okay.